Greetings everyone! We are gathered here today to do the next prompt in our SMAUGUST lineup. But before we begin, I'd like to admit that I have a problem. That is, I am developing a watercolor addiction. Yes, I know I said in another video that I need to work on other mediums to get some variety in this channel, but my fine people, though I knew this to be true in my mind, my heart told me I needed more watercolors, and so here we are. But before we get into the footage from this piece, I wanted to swatch the newest additions to my watercolor collection for y'all so that you can bear witness to my sins. First up, we have some metallic / glittery handmade watercolors I purchased from Cosmic Creations on Etsy. I'll leave a link down below if you'd like to check out their shop. So I wanted to upgrade from the cheap metallics I've been using, so I decided to give these a try and got a few colors that I thought I'd use the most. Those colors are Frog, Azinza, I hope I'm saying that right, Scarlet, and 24K. So these colors were a little more transparent than I was expecting, but since I plan on using them over regular watercolors, this won't be too much of an issue for me in particular. I did see some reviews in the shop that showed that the watercolors they were selling look amazing and vibrant on black paper, so I think that might be the way to use them if you're looking to use them standalone. That's at least as far as the Frog, Azinza, and Scarlet colors go. With the 24K color, this one by far has the most potential to be the most opaque out of the 4 colors I bought. I didn't use the other colors much in this painting coming up, but in the next video you'll get to see how well 24K shows up by itself, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I'll use the other colors much by themselves, but they do give a really pretty shimmery effect to whatever they're applied over. These colors all activated really easily and are super easy to pick up with a brush, unlike the cheap metallics I've been using. All in all, these are some very pretty colors and I can't wait to use them more in future paintings. Next up, we have a set of Prima Watercolor Confections in the Pastel Dreams palette. I've seen this particular brand being used quite a bit here on YouTube, and I was eager to get my hands on one of these palettes. I picked this particular palette because I'm lacking some of these pastel colors in my collection, and I thought it'd be nice to have these around, especially when I don't have to mix them. I actually did manage to find my cheap watercolor tubes, by the way. They're the Castile brand, but still, sometimes I'm just too lazy to mix. I found the warmer colors to be of particular interest since I like to draw animals and fantasy critters, and I prefer using earthy colors to color them. I also thought the light pinks and red would work great for flesh tones on animals, and boy was I ever right about that. These colors are really vibrant, and I found that a little bit goes a long way. So you know how I've been having issues getting enough saturation in my last few pieces? Well, with these I was actually struggling with having too much saturation just by barely dipping my brush in these paints. These seem to have a less chalky feel going down on paper compared to the watercolors I've been using, and definitely feel and look higher quality than the cheap paints. I know Prima has quite a few palettes out there, and I know I shouldn't, but after using these I really want to get more of them. They are so pretty and so nice to use, and I just want them all. Alright, so now on to today's piece. This prompt was Jerboa. I had a little bit of trouble coming up with a design for this one, and it ended up being very Jerboa leaning rather than dragonish, but I still enjoyed drawing it. When I was thumbnailing this, I realized I wouldn't have room for the tail, so I decided to draw in a little derpy baby Jerboa dragon to show what the tail would look like. I added the fly just to give them something to chase. I realized that the scale of these two compared to the fly is probably way off, but we're going to ignore that. I wasn't too concerned about it really, I just wanted to have fun with this and not stress over the details too much, so that's exactly what I did. Getting into the painting portion, I made good on my suggestion to myself to try the wet on wet technique instead of painting directly on the dry paper like I've done in the past. I was a little concerned at first, but it went better than expected. Using this technique helped the color spread out more evenly and look less blotchy. I'm sure having higher quality paints than the mystery brand I've been using helped with that too. Also, I just want to apologize if the picture keeps going out of focus in this video. I forgot to take my phone out of autofocus before filming this. There's always something, am I right? Anyways, you can see just how bright these paints turned out to be. They were perfect for mimicking that Jerboa coloration, though I did take a few liberties with the patterning. All of the other SMAUGUST pieces I've done so far have been brightly colored, so it was actually a huge relief to be back to using natural colors. I am so stoked to have these colors in my collection, y'all don't even realize. This is just giving me more inspiration to paint some more cool critters for y'all. That's like my favorite thing to do. I can't wait to use these more. I started using that 24K metallic watercolor to add some gold details to the fur. There wasn't really much I could do with the metallic paints in this piece since this dragon isn't as colorful as the others, but I still wanted to keep up with the theme I have going for this SMAUGUST of adding some metallics somewhere, so adding the gold bits to the fur was just a cute little touch. It looks even better in person and added some nice visual interest to the original. I also ended up using a tad of either the frog or a zinza, I can't remember which, on the face scales, but I didn't want to go overboard with that since I mainly wanted them to be flesh toned. Also, side note, while I was working with these paints, I noticed that some of the glitter from the metallic stayed on the brush even after rinsing it, so some of the regular paint I used right after these had just a little bit of glitter in them as well. It wasn't something that bothered me because I like the extra little pizzazz of sparkly paint, but it's just something to keep in mind when using these if you happen to get them. I didn't do much work with colored pencils this time, as I felt the watercolors managed to do most of the work in this piece. Mainly I just wanted to pump up the flesh tones a little, and that was pretty much all I did with those. For the lines, since I don't have a brown gel pen, I went over them with one of my sepia tone liners. I think it helps keep the lines very soft and cohesive. That's it for this one. Overall, this piece was super relaxing to work on. It was the simplest of the ones I've done so far, but sometimes it's nice to have a little break from working with complex designs and 50 million color shifts. These new paints were so much fun to work with, and I also used them in the video coming up after this one, so I hope y'all are looking forward to that. So, there we are. Don't forget to toss the video a like and leave a comment if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more if you haven't already. See y'all next time!